we live in a really super difficult society. And I think people forget that I grew up in this society and I'm part of this society, I'm part of the culture. But because I don't have the language, they forget that that's not, language doesn't define culture and language doesn't define like what you've learned and what you've grown up in, right? They forget that I actually grew up here. I know the society super well. I know my culture really well. I just choose to change a little bit about myself so I'm happier in it.
You were in most probably, let's say, high school back in Kuwait, right?
Yeah, I spent the last 3 years of high school back here.
Was it easy or were you bullied?
Yeah, it was really awful.
It was?
Yeah, it was super awful.
Why would you say that?
I think I came back with more American notions of how life was meant to be lived and trying to get out of that again and go into a private all-girls school, because I was in an all-girls school. It was really hard. Like the stigma attached to being half American here was really bad back then, super bad.
Tell me the worst experience that now when I tell you about your high school, you remember.
I was one of those people that put headphones in and just kind of tried to ignore everything that was going on around me. And I had left class and there was someone's backpack on top of my backpack and I moved the backpack away. And then of course, I went to my next class, I moved on, I'm standing in art class. And the way that the girls had told this girl that I had moved her backpack was I had flung it across the thing. So this girl comes out of nowhere, looking for me all over the school, yelling for me all over the school. It's in a massive campus. She comes to the art class and is standing there telling me that I'm the most hated person in school, literally top of her lungs. Everybody hates you, nobody can stand you, why do you even come here, why do you even come to school anymore? Awful crap like that. Until the teacher actually had to physically take her away from me, and then another student had to physically take me to my guidance counselor. It was really bad. It was really bad. And I think that night that I went back home, my mom didn't know what was going on, because my mom was the one that was 100%. My dad had no idea what was going on. My mom was what's going on? And the only way that I could think of to really cope with it was that I was pretty sure that I wanted to die. I was pretty sure. So I tried, and my mom was like, are you kidding? Are you joking? It's that bad? And I was like, it's so bad. I stayed out of school for a week after that. I couldn't go back. I just couldn't look at anyone. It was awful. It was so fucking awful. Shit. Thanks.
When you say you tried, what do you mean? You tried to kill yourself?
Yeah, I thought it was the thing that I would solve shit, you know? I thought that was the thing that would make it stop, but it didn't.
Do you think a lot of people go through that?
I think so. I think we don't really talk about it here, you know?
We don't talk about a lot of things. We have too many. We have a zoo, not an elephant in the room.
I know. It is it's an actual zoo. There's so many things that we're too afraid to talk about, but they happen so much on a daily basis to children here. And I say children because looking back on it, now that I have my own kids, I was a child. I was 16, 17, maybe 17, I think. It was awful.